scares me about archaeology is that when a site is found, sometimes a little blurb is mentioned in a newspaper or a publication, and you might actually see a picture of one of the artifacts that are found. But then everything that's found is taken out of the local area, studied in some university, and then stored away in their archives. And the person who lives in a particular area that might be interested never get to see any more of the artifacts per se. Well, I last summer found a collection of bone artifacts and stone artifacts, which I've told you about, and I put a number of videos up about, which I believe date back to the Late Archaic Period from here in Saginaw, Michigan. And in this video, I've shown you a couple of the more unique pieces. But in this video, I'm going to take you through and show you all the bone pieces that I found on the surface of the ground where these, and let you look at them. Some of them will be boring and tedious, perhaps, but this is what was found. There were some very distinct and unique artifacts found there, one of which is engraved. And I've shown you that one before, but I want you to see the other things that were also found there, which give a more clear picture of overall what this site might have been about. In the future, I will be doing the same thing with the stone artifacts from that site, probably within the next couple days. Before we take a look, I'm sorry that the image blurred just now, but before we take a look at the bone artifacts, I just wanted to kind of give you a glimpse around the displays that I'm setting up in my basement here that show the entire range of stone and bone artifacts. There are hundreds of them, literally hundreds of them, that I found last year. I was complaining about archaeology though in general, and I want to say this. There is a museum up in Alpena, Michigan, Jesse Besser Museum, and I visited the museum back in the early 90s because I was doing a paper about the Nabkazoan discs, of which I have a video on my channel here about those. But the unique thing was the curator, I don't remember the curator's name, who was working there at the time, but he let me come in, even as a avocational archaeologist, go into the archives, photograph the 100 and some discs in that collection, to be able to touch them and turn them over to photograph both sides. And they had a real openness to me, which surprised me because as I said, I'm an avocational archaeologist. I've looked at hundreds of thousands of artifacts and have uncovered thousands and thousands in the last 35 years. But I thought it was a really unique experience with the museum there to do that. Well, having said that, let's look at the collection of bone pieces that I found last year. Okay, now the camera shut off, so I don't know what I showed you and what I didn't so far on this part, but some of these bones show cutting where they've been cut into, probably, part of the process of preparing the meat that was on it for eating. These larger pieces, most of them don't show any indication of what they may have been used for, other than like this piece shows a high polish, shows it was handled a lot. This particular piece here is the other part of this that attaches to it. I just didn't attach it back. Another piece that shows marks from cutting, and these are all fragmentary bone that was found amongst the tools that I've already shown you. And then there are these smaller fragmentary bones. All of them would go back to the same era. Some of them do show the signs of having been cut into. So one thing I found fascinating about this site is of the literally thousands and thousands of artifacts that I myself have looked at over the years, that I myself have found over the years, that the I have found very little bone. Up north, when I was doing avocational archaeology up there, I found bone fragments smaller than even these, as part of hearths where meals were prepared. But this is the first time I ever found bone that had been shaped into usable tools and actually engraved into for some kind of significance to the individual who owned the piece. So that's the collection of bone from this particular site. All of it was collected off the surface. There was no digging done at this place at all. Probably around maybe 100 pieces altogether here, with the actual pieces that can be well defined as having been used. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pieces in this particular display case. And again, some of these show signs of having been cut into, but probably were not used as tools. So that's a look at these pieces. Hope you've enjoyed it, and let me know what you think. Have a great day.